Tucson's election this November could make history for a few reasons. Voters could elect either the city's first female, or the first independent, or the first Green Party candidate as mayor. And voters could also decide to establish the state's first sanctuary city with Proposition 205. The latter has its share of outspoken supporters and critics. In Pima County, the Democratic and Republican parties position themselves on opposite sides of the issue. We discussed those differences this week with party chairs Allison Jones and David Eppiheimer.
If I was forced to make a bet on it today, I would bet against. I don't think it will go through, but we and there will be a fairly large contingent of people working to defeat it, are not taking anything for granted and aren't sitting on our hands. So there'll be quite an effort to make sure it doesn't pass.
Allison, from the Democratic side, do you all see this going through?
You know, I do think it's going to be close. But from talking to the people who originated the initiative and gathered all the signatures, they tell me that people couldn't wait to sign those petitions. There is an enthusiasm for it, and I believe it's going to bring out people who haven't in the past been excited about voting. They have something they really feel strongly about and want to vote for. How it will fare, I don't know, but I think it's going to be close.
David, you said that the party will be working with the other groups who are opposing it. Allison, will the Democrats be working to get it to pass, or are you going to concentrate more on the mayoral race?
The Pima County Democratic Party has passed a resolution in support of the initiative. So we will be out there supporting it. Our PCs, our precinct committee people, will be out there meeting their neighbors and talking about it. We will also be out there for our Democratic candidates, of course. And we look upon this as an opportunity to get our PCs mobilized, meeting their neighbors, and doing what we did successfully in the last election, which was getting out the vote.
And I think it's interesting that Allison brought up that the Democrat Executive Committee is in favor of this when virtually all Democrat office holders are against it, including those who are running for office this November. It shows how out of step the Pima Dems are with the community and with their own office seekers and office holders.
In fairness, some of the Democratic office holders or candidates said their big concern is potential loss of revenue from the state and maybe the federal government if this were to pass. Mm-hmm. Any concern about that on your side?
Well, as far as federal funds go, this has been decided in a number of courts, and it's been found that it is not legal to withhold federal funds based on a sanctuary status. There are dozens of sanctuary cities already in the U.S. As far as state funds go, it's not entirely clear, but I can say this. The fact that this is an initiative and not a law that will have been brought forth by the City Council, I think makes it a much stronger statement, and it would be much harder to withhold funds from the city on that basis.
It's an interesting point, David, that this is a voter-approved initiative. This isn't the mayor and council passing something. Do you think that changes the legal end?
I don't think that changes anything. The governor and the legislative leaders have made it very clear that the state shared revenues, 100 million, 150 million, you hear all sorts of numbers in that range, will be withheld. And there are legislators right now putting through legislation for the next session that will make it illegal in Arizona to be a sanctuary city. So the lawsuits are coming if this passes, and it will be years before it is decided.
But the underlying question is, does it cross the SB 1070 line? And we believe it does not. The Sanctuary Initiative simply draws the line at what local police can do regarding stops and inquiries about immigration status. It does not do anything to stop federal immigration officials. It simply keeps police on their task of public safety at the city level.
But are Tucson police more or less doing that now? And Chief Magnus has come out against it.
Well, they are doing that now. They do have these orders. This simply seeks to codify it and make it more clear.
We don't feel that it has anything to do with 1070. I mean, that you hear that out of the supporters, 1070, 1070, 1070. It's just bad policy for Tucson. There's a three-legged stool of disaster coming to Tucson if this was to pass. There's a public relations disaster, there's a public safety disaster, and there's an economic disaster that's coming to Tucson. And on that basis, this should not pass. It's bad for Tucson and will eventually make Tucson a ghost town.
Do we really want our local police to be able to stop people based on the language they're speaking, the way they dress, or whether they have window tinting? This is a civil rights issue for everyone. If our police are able to stop people on that basis, we're all in trouble.
As Chris just noted, Chief Magnus has already said that his department is not doing those things currently. Chief Magnus, also a Democrat, also has come out strongly against this as the wrong thing for Tucson.
We closed out our conversation by shifting the focus from sanctuary cities to Tucson's mayoral race between Democrat Regina Romero, Independent Ed Ackerley, and Green Party write-in candidate Mike Cease. No Republican. Some people say Republicans are just ceding the city. What's your reaction?
Nothing could be further from the truth. We had two candidates for mayor, Konarski and Sam Nagy. Both were candidates for mayor. They did not get their signatures. That's on them. They didn't get their signatures. I went out and talked to quite a few Republicans who live in the city and talked to them about running as a write-in. And most of them, in fact all of them, said no. You know, Republicans are outnumbered 2-1. Republicans who live in the city don't want to put their businesses on hold, put their families on hold, put their life on hold to go out and get creamed in the general. So we made a strategic decision not to run a write-in candidate and leave Republican voters in the city with the option of voting for leftist Regina Romero or vote for a centrist Ed Ackerley. We think that was a very good political decision.
I frankly don't understand how the small number of signatures needed to get on the ballot couldn't be met by Republicans. But be that as it may, we had a wonderful primary with 3 excellent candidates. Ms. Romero prevailed with over 50% of the vote at the end of the count. And the energy behind her campaign was tremendous. That energy is continuing on. All Democrats are behind her now. No matter how we were split up before amongst these 3 candidates, we are now behind Ms. Romero, and I can't wait to see her be our next mayor.
All right, well, thank you both for sitting down with us.
Thank you very much. Look forward to meeting with you after the election.
Yeah, we'd love to come back and rehash what happened.
Oh, I'm sure this will be a fun one to talk about.
Yes.